All right, let's talk travel. Yesterday I posted a very brief blog post about how to plan your trip in one step. Sort of, kind of, okay, not really. And my point of that article was to just book a ticket. And the reason why I was inspired to write this article was because I need to take my own damn advice. Because I had back in April a one-way ticket booked to California, and then I was going to travel down to South America and beyond, but life happened and things happened in my family, and I ended up having to cancel that trip. And I've been sitting here knowing that in November I would be going to Cancun to be in my best friend's wedding. And then beyond that, I keep thinking to myself like, oh, I'm gonna use that as my springboard to travel South America and just get going. But I am like analyzing all the what ifs. And my main what if is like, what if I don't feel like traveling then? Like, what if I'm not feeling up to it? What if I still wanna, stay at home and get my, my cozy little condo? But I am just gonna book a ticket and figure it out from there, because this is pretty much what I'm about to show you is the technique that I use to plan the initial step of my trip. I am not a planner. So I know some travel people are like, okay, like have your game plan, know where you want to go. Like, no, that's not fucking fun to me. Like every time I sit down and I try to like, okay, I'm going to go from here, I'm going to go to here, and thinking about all the things that need to happen to get from A to B and to plan that, it just like sucks the fun out of it for me. So I've always embraced like no plan is my plan. Like have that step, and then once I am in the country, like figure out how to get from the airport to where I'm staying. So without further ado, I am going to show you exactly what I'm doing right now. This is going to be me booking a real ticket. So I actually just booked a one-way ticket from Philadelphia to Cancun, which I booked using this similar method, and the day that I was initially gonna fly out to Cancun was like $100 more than if I would have flown out a few days prior. So I was like, okay, well, I quickly went onto Hostel World and started looking for accommodation to get like an idea of, okay, well, should I just fly out that day or fly out a few days early and use that extra money to explore some more? And so I decided to fly out early. And I still I'm turning 36 later this week, but I still really like staying in hostels. And there isn't that much of a stigma. Like I've met people like so much older than me staying in hostels, and I've met obviously like young people. So it's a type of travel that I feel connects me the most with people and the travel circuit, unless I'm living with like a local family. So I don't mind. We'll see, because this will be a different time now that I've kind of had my own space. Like I've been so used to sharing spaces for the past 5 years that now that like I have my peace and quiet, I might report back differently and end up staying in private rooms. But for right now, it's just like it's a place to sleep. So as long as there's not like freaking bed bugs, which I came across in Morocco. But as long as it's like fairly decent, I like the type of people that I meet when I stay in a hostel environment. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you how I'm gonna book my ticket. Oh shit, how do I do reverse camera? I'm so not tech savvy. All right, I'm just gonna flip it around like this. Hopefully you can see. All right, hopefully there we go. Can you see it? All right, so what I do is I always open up an incognito window and go to Sky Scanner. And I always just use Skyscanner. There might be better platforms out there, but it's what I have found that works the best for me. And then what I'll do is, I actually have my previous search in there. So I know I'll be flying from Cancun, and I know I want to go to South America. I don't really care initially where. So then I always use this, can't decide where, click here to see everywhere. And then I know roundabout I'll be departing on the 12th. That's when I'll be staying in like an all-inclusive resort for my friend's wedding. So I'm booked in there till the 12th. But I also want to see what my options are. So I always choose this whole month and go to November and then search flights. So this is one way from Cancun to everywhere in the world in November for one adult. All right, so then I can start seeing, okay, Mexico. Oh, and Colombia is actually where I want to go to. So it always is in a price order from the cheapest to the most expensive going from the bottom. So I'm like, oh, hell yeah, Colombia. Let's check Colombia out. So then it'll give me Medellin, Bogota, wherever. So I was like, this one was the cheaper one from 51. So then I click on there. This will give me a month view of roundabout when I'm gonna fly. So I can see the day that I wanna fly, it's $142. Which, you know, I can buy. Like I look at travel as a game. So I'm always like, oh, where can I save my money? And you can see like on other days it goes down to $51, but I don't want to stay in Mexico that long. So then I'm gonna go back and then I'll go back to Colombia and we'll try Bogota and see what Bogota comes up with. So I just keep going like this and playing around to see roundabout. Okay, so like the 13th it's $100 for me to get to Bogota. So I might actually end up, or you know what? It's $132 for the 12th. So then I think in my mind, like it would probably cost me another $20 to stay in Mexico for the night. And I know that the place where I'm staying, the all-inclusive resort, provides me transportation to the airport. So that would also be a saving. So I'll probably just book on here. So then I just choose that date, show flights. But that's like kind of what I do. I just keep playing around to see what, and I always pay attention to the flights, the time. And what I mean by that is I can already see this first freaking flight. I would land in Bogota at 1:45 in the morning. Yeah, no thanks. I've done that before where I've like landed late at night. It's never a good idea. Spend the money to land earlier in the day, because what's going to happen is you're either going to get stuck sleeping in the airport, which happened to me quite a few times, like in New Zealand I did. Somewhere else. So depend on what country I'm in. Like I might just be like, oh, screw it, I'll sleep in the airport. Because there's no public transportation at the night. So I'll look here, 12:15. So this one wouldn't be that bad, but then it's $145. So in the interest of not boring the heck out of you guys, I am going to play around with this myself for the next little bit. But that's like basically the thing, is like I just keep going to everywhere and looking through and then just booking a ticket. And then that will be the extent to my planning until I'm in Mexico. And once I'm in Mexico, I'll find a time, and then that's when I'll start looking for my first night of accommodation, or my first 2 nights of accommodation. Because the thing that I've realized is there's been times where I've booked out like 4 or 5 days in advance, and then I got there and I was like, oh shit, like I only really needed a day or two in the city. So I like to have that flexibility, and especially if you're operating from like a budget perspective, if you pre-play shit and like you start sleeping that first night and you're like, oh my God, this place is a shithole, I need to leave. Like you're not locked into it. Like that actually happened to me in Morocco. The place was rated so well, but like I saw a bed bug, and I had prepaid for like, I think 3 nights, and I was like ready to get out of Morocco at that point because I'd been there a month, and I just like, and it said like no refunds everywhere. Like I just politely went down and I said, hey, like I don't want to make a big deal out of this, but like I saw a bed bug and I really just don't, you know, I can't stay here. But I've already paid. And they politely gave me my money back because I was good about it, and just not, because you can be just don't be a jerk when you're traveling, I guess is my point. Because you know, shit happens and whatever. So yeah, so I am gonna sit here. I'll put in the comments below what I ended up choosing, but I just go through and keep playing around with like what works and where I want to go, and just book the ticket. And then I'll worry about, like, there's always going to be places and to sleep. And if you really like sit there and analyze like, oh my gosh, like how am I going to get from the airport in Colombia to where I'm staying? Like you will get freaking so much anxiety, or at least I do. I just know, okay, I'll land in freaking Bogota or something, go to the info station, say, hey, I have to get here. What's the best way for me to get there? And then I figure it out step by step, and it's legit how I've traveled the world for 5 years. And for the most part, it always works out. Just asking people, like asking locals, asking, you know, police officers, whoever you have to ask, versus trying to find all that information on blogs, because you can find it on a blog now, but I'm traveling in November, so all that shit can change, you know, by the time, and then that's just like time wasted. So hopefully this was at least a little bit helpful, and I just would encourage you to just book the ticket. Like, I am anxious right now. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know, how I'm going to travel, what I'm going to do. And especially this time for me, it's different because now I have a home base. I'm like, where am I going to store my car for a few months? Like, how am I going to make sure all my bills get paid when I'm gone? Like, there's a whole different set of things that I'm going to have to figure out. But I know I have the time to do it, and I know I will do it step by step in terms of like, answering all these bajillion questions that I have in my mind. So just know that, even if you have a job, if you have an apartment, like if there's a will, there's a freaking way. And I would encourage you to look at other people's, blogs, Instagrams, like find somebody that's like you, like if you're a family or, you're, I don't know, with a spouse and you want to travel. There's people out there like you that are traveling and making their travel dreams come true. So I'm here to help in any way. I'm still really just trying to figure out how to get all of my experience in my head efficiently out to help support people and like help people travel. So yeah, if you have questions, let me know or message me. I'm happy to answer. And yeah, happy travels, everybody. Have a great rest of your day or night, and I will chat again soon. All right, bye.